What's today's date? July the 9th, 2018. Last week, of course, we didn't have the class. Anybody remember why?
Anniversary.
15
years.
Huh?
15 years.
No, man, don't take away 5.
Oh, you said 20?
20.
You said 15.
There you go. But everybody had an assignment last week. And I'm sure everybody did their assignment. So we have anybody new in the class tonight? You mind saying your name? How'd you end up here?
My name's Lieutenant Scott. I came to this program 2 years ago in May, and I had no place to go. I was coming out of penitentiary. I had applied with every halfway house in the state of Texas, and I was blessed that Lieutenant Fields and Ms. Dawn allowed me to come here, and I've had the opportunity to make some growth and changes in my life that allow me to, when the Lord's willing, allow me to go and move on with my life. But I ended up in a penitentiary behind a first-degree felony for drug possession. I was trying to kill myself after some issues that happened to my family. I lost my wife. I got this huge sum of money, and money happens to be a big trigger in my life. And I'm just grateful now. And it's kind of a funny thing is the police officer that arrested me said, you know, you're going to be mad at me now, but in about 5 years you're going to say, you know what, you're going to thank me. And I actually thought about that a couple of weeks ago, and I do. If I ever see that police officer again in Dallas, I do want to say thank you to him for saving my life. I was pretty screwed up. My drug choices, alcohol and cocaine, or anything else that will change the way I feel. I've done just about everything. I'm addicted to shopping, and I feel that this class give me an opportunity to make some changes in my life to see what happens.
All right, well, welcome aboard. I know that 2 weeks ago, we decided we wasn't gonna let nobody else in the class. But prior to him going on vacation, he asked if he can join when he gets back because he was actually on vacation.
Right.
He was willing to pay his dollar and wanted to know if we were gonna.
Did he pay his dollar?
He paid his dollar. And he wanted me to Facebook Live so he can watch it while he was on vacation. But I told him enjoy his family. He'd be able to get in when he gets back. So, did you guys bring your books back?
Yes, sir.
You got my book.
No, sir.
Where's your book?
My book is in my room. I was finishing up a van, and I snapped. It's 7 o'clock. I got to go to class, and I just grabbed what I grabbed, grabbed the scratch plates at the desk, came on.
So, question, do you know what your book was about?
No, sir. Incomplete on my study, sir.
So you didn't read it?
I did not finish my assignment.
You didn't read the first chapter?
Mine was just a few pages, and I did not finish it.
So what do you plan on getting out of this class?
I plan to do my studies. I don't know what happened this week. I just so caught up in the working and doing
That was this week. What about last week? Because we had 2 weeks.
Correct.
Now, you told me you wanted this class, right?
I still want this class.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't want to waste your time.
I'm being honest.
I don't want to waste your time.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do I need to say anything?
No, sir.
All right. So who read their portion of the book? All right. Good deal. Good deal. Which one of you all want to stand up? Matter of fact, Mr. Fillmore, since you're up front, can you tell the class the title of your book, the author, and what did you learn from reading the first part of your book?
Class of Chester Fillmore.
Matter of fact, come on behind the podium. It's your day today.
Mhm.
All right, the book that I read was Heaven in Your Heart. Author was Ed Montgomery. And this book was, first chapter was very intriguing. And I took quite an interest to it. What I gathered from it in summary is life gives you lemons. Why not make lemon juice? This question I asked of you. Many times we may find ourselves in situations that may seemingly provide nothing profound enough to keep our attention. When you find yourself in those boxes that life frequently tosses in, look at the bright side until God provides a better situation. Remember, patience is necessary to complete us all. So when it seems that there's better options around, trust the process. God will not bring you to a place that He hasn't provided a way through.
All right, so now what does that mean to you?
That means to me, I'm right where I need to be. There's some people around, clients come and they go, and it's just like anywhere in life you can look on the grass always appears to be greener on the other side. But I'm just trusting my process, and I'm gonna try to attain my goals and do what I can. I'm not trying to catch up, I'm just trying to catch in. And go from there, take it one day at a time, stay sober, tomorrow gone. I don't know what tomorrow, yesterday's gone, tomorrow isn't promised, and so I'm just taking advantage of today.
Anybody have any questions about what he read, his understanding of it? Comment, question?
What was the title of the book?
The title of the book is Heaven in Your Heart by Ed Montgomery.
That's your pastor, man.
You may be a pastor. It was a good read. I think I may read the entire book. I know we're supposed to exchange books at some point in time in this course, but this one seems to be a perfect fit for what I got going on right now.
You had a question or comment back there?
Comment. You said something about life is like lemons. Why not make lemonade? Is that what you started out with?
Yeah, because of the first chapter, the first sentence says, "It's not where you are that counts. It's what you do with where you are." And what I took from that was, life gives you lemons. Sometimes the situation may appear to be sour, but there's always a bright side to it. Every situation, there's always two sides to it.
So is it safe to me to agree that what I'm living today and the resources that I'm offered, I should use those tools and say like lemons make lemonade, use those tools and apply it? Is that what?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. I think everybody each person here, like the guy that I work with, Dunn, of course, Lieutenant Scott, Clark, Tony, and you, all of us, man, we make a good team. It was kind of hard catching in at first because, you kind of you're getting in with the structure, how things work. But once you catch in and start becoming patient and see that it's all a growing process for us all, you can kind of take it in, and it's turned out pretty good for me. I like it.
Thank you, sir.
I like it.
You got another comment or question?
What kind of changes are you wanting to make in your life from where you were to where you want to go?
Where I was, I was an addict. The new life that I want to have is something somewhere I haven't been before, and every day is just continuing to embrace a change and develop those characteristics that I feel God has put on my heart to deal with, as far as what it takes to build a better character. And I know some people use more philosophical terminology when it comes to being able to move forward. But like with me, mine is faith-based. Everything about me is driven off the word of God. I use the gospel to help empower me, and it seems to be working very well. It does.
Have you ever heard the term, nothing, if nothing changes, nothing changes?
Yes, I have.
All right, well, y'all give him a hand. Anybody want to volunteer to go next? All right, and you are?
My name's Tony Mavis.
Mr. Mavis?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I also read the same book, Heaven in Your Heart, first chapter.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you all are not given the full title of that book. Trust me, if I put it in your hand, I know a little bit about it. What it
The
said?
full title is Heaven in Your Heart and in Your Pocket, too.
Okay.
That's then great.
All right.
For me, the title of the first chapter of this book is Why Can't I? The American Dream. And a little bit of what it goes through before I summarize it says, it's not where you're at that counts. It's what you do where you are that counts. It also says that wealth isn't limited to a place. It says that for most, the American dream is a fairy tale. It also says from the day we were conceived, when we were in the womb, we are in a man-made box. From the womb to a playpen, then to a school, then in a job. It says they're all boxes. Okay, and it says then while in these boxes, we want to be content. Or the people want us to be content. Man wants us to be content. So in these boxes for a little while, as like in a playpen, our parents and people give us toys, pacifiers and stuff like that. And it also says that confinement is not a bad thing because it provides us with peace, security, and well-being, safety. So, saying all that, this in my words, I'm going to sum it up. I wrote, my understanding of this chapter. So from the day that we were conceived, we start to grow. Not fast, but in 9 months we grow from a little squirt to having 10 toes, 10 fingers, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and most important, a brain. So I guess in reality, 9 months from nothing to a brain, it is a pretty fast process. It's 9 months. It seemed like a long time, but for that to happen, it's amazing. So, let's see here. So once we're born, people in our family, they try and keep us content. You know, they feed us, they give, like I said before, give us toys and stuff like that. And then we start to learn to walk. Then we learn in school and from our mentors and pastors and parents and all that. But again, they all try to keep us content. In this box and this fairy tale of this so-called American dream, we have to stand on something to be able to see outside the box. Because this life is moving from box to box. The box is like a prison. It's designed to keep you in. While in this box or prison, we do ask ourselves, how did we get here? What am I doing here? What am I accomplishing? And most important, my future. What's my future going to be? You don't want to stay in a box, you know. So for me, I'm at this point in my life, I'm just tired of being content and frustrated in the same box. It's time for change for me. This is making me stronger. This class, I believe, is going to make me stronger, and having faith doesn't mean make anything easier, but it does make things possible. So I'm here to learn how to get out of this box. That's what I wrote.
Very good. Very good. Y'all have any comments or questions for him? Mr. Master? Well, I have one.
Okay.
The very title of that book, Heaven in Your Heart and in Your Pocket too. What do you get out of that? What does that mean?
Well, for me, I'm also bringing this to a spiritual level because I've tried everything. And about to be 48 in October. I've tried everything, thinking I'm in control, I read a sign the other day. It says, stop driving, start living. And it hit me pretty hard. I'm like, man, it just happened to be what I'm going through, you know what I mean? I'm trying to control this, trying to do this and do that, but to me, I have to bring God into my heart more to be able to be content, I believe. Like you said in here, the American dream is, for most people, it's a fairy tale, They want this, they want all this and that, but for me, I just want to be content, and I guess that's about it. I'm ready to be content and just stay out of the prisons and stay out of trouble, and I'm just willing to do and try anything that I can, and I do believe in my heart that with God in my heart that I will succeed.
Thank you, sir.
I'll go next.
Who was that?
I will.
Okay.
Since. Well,
So who are you?
I'm Lieutenant Donald Downing from the Lieutenant House. And I appreciate y'all giving me the time, your time, and I hope I'm not wasting your time. I'm reading a book, The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. And right at the top of the page of on the book cover, it says, "Don't take on the problem if the problem isn't yours. That monkey doesn't belong to you." Well, I believe I've read 40 pages, and the thing about when I read, I tend to fall asleep. So out of 135 pages, I've only gotten 40 pages read. But by reading a little bit slower, I got a little bit of understanding, and it speaks of a little bit of trying to manage. Well, excuse me. As every situation in my life, I've never gone to a managing class or really had any experience on anything other than on-the-job training. So I'm learning as I'm going, managing or supervising, just as I did landscaping. I did some landscaping stuff. Everything I've ever learned, sometimes the hard ways and the easy ways, but it's always been through the opportunities to do it, you know what I mean? So I'm still learning at everything. What I've read so far in this book has started to give me an understanding that I first have to control my own personal monkeys, which I think the word monkeys in this is more or less my own problems. And the own monkeys on my back before getting involved with my colleagues' monkeys. After all, if I give all of them fish without teaching them how to fish, the chances are I have done nothing more than add more monkeys to my back. So in other words, if I haven't got the experience or the knowledge to be able to show you how to do something, then what I'm doing is really creating more of a problem on my shoulder, because the next time you're hungry, I'm gonna have to give you another fish rather than teaching you how to fish. Also, from what I've read so far, I have fully realized my role and the monkeys in which I am responsible for, creating my own dilemma of insurance, and where my responsibilities and boundaries end and begin. So, taking the role as a manager or supervisor, a lot is the learning experience of actually how far my boundaries are in the role I'm taking and what I'm doing. If in reality, being a manager or supervisor details nothing more than to first being able to manage and supervise my own position, my own situation. If I don't fully understand what I'm doing, how can I help anybody else? Or how could I supervise the next person or manage? So I gave an example. Example, if I was given the opportunity to say, supervise a crew of men, I would have to eliminate all doubts and questions of my abilities in what I am supervising. If I am not sure of my qualifications and abilities of supervising the task at hand, the crew would surely start to have monkeys or problems on their own backs because of my lack of knowledge and experience. So I'm putting myself in the position just like this man went to eat with Mr. Onick, I think is his name. And he'd already taken some manager classes, but he kept in his role. It seemed like the more he did, the further behind he was getting. And the problem was, he was being stopped in the hallway, and people were putting their monkeys on his back to where he never got his stuff organized. And that's about to where I'm at on the first 40 pages. So I hope I haven't bored y'all. But if you got any questions, I'll try to answer them. All right.
Questions, comments?
I like how he put together where it talks about instead of giving you a fish when you're hungry, I think it's an analogy he used. Instead of giving you a fish, he teach you how to fish, so that then it'll be easier on us all type deal. I'm assuming, because sometimes I've had that learning experience with him, to where instead of doing something for me, it kind of like showed me how it's done. That I go about doing it myself the next time, and it makes the burden lighter on all of us. And it's like the weight is distributed. The weight is distributed is shared evenly enough to where it's not weighed down on everybody. You know what I mean? Because when you gotta continue to provide to the same, it's like I know where he's going with that. I like how to do it.
Somebody say anything? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunn, what I got from you, what you offered us today was real good for me, because it says, the 1 minute monkey manager meets the monkey. Don't take on the problem, it doesn't belong to you. I've often, and still do, find myself trying to take on responsibilities that I don't have the knowledge, the information, or the experience to handle. And it has been creating a problem for me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm sitting in this room today, and grateful for what you just said, because in my notes, it kind of rung a bell the way you broke it down. The example you gave is the supervisor of a crew of men. If you're my supervisor and we're out on a landscape job, and I might know a little bit about landscaping, but if you're trying to fake your way through it, I'm gonna see that, and it's gonna create a problem for my performance, and it's gonna create a problem overall for the whole crew. So I'm agreeing with you, and thank you for that information, because sometimes you never know what you give away. I appreciate it.
So I have a question then to you, Mr. Francois. You said you have tendencies to take on what you would call responsibilities that really not yours.
Yes, sir.
Which we found out in this class today that it's monkeys or problems.
Yes.
And it's really not a responsibility.
Yes,
See,
sir.
a responsibility is something that belongs to you.
Yes, sir.
But that doesn't belong to you. So what would make you reach out and take on some monkeys or problems that don't belong to you, the same thing that you call responsibility? You feel that that's what you need to do to make you stand out? There's a reason that you reach out and do that. What would make you do
That's
that?
a good question, because it hit right on the head with me not having my assignment. I've been taking on some things, some responsibilities, and doing some things, calling myself occupying my mind, working on a bicycle, cleaning this and doing that and doing the other, instead of doing what's valuable and what's important and what the Lieutenant House is truly offering to me. And that's where it affected me when he said that, especially him, because he's seen some of the things I've been doing. So to say, why am I taking on those things? I thought that it was helping me mentally. It was helping me relax. And in truth, it did, but it's not what I need to be doing to correct myself in this opportunity that I'm given. And that was a very good question that you asked, because it goes right along with what I was thinking when he said that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, because a lot of times, especially men, we would reach out and grab some things that really don't belong to us, or take up on some responsibilities or monkeys or problems that we shouldn't be even messing with to make ourselves look good. And we're doing it in a selfish way. You know, I want to be seen, look at me. And not realizing we're way out of bounds.
Yes, sir.
You know, because that's really not making you look good, because now you taking up some time away from what you really need to be working on for yourself.
And this book, so far, it stresses and points out your real responsibility is within yourself, is to yourself. In other words, just like you said, coming in late, well, all those extra things could be wait. Your responsibility to yourself is getting what you can out of this class. Your responsibility is, I think it was an issue yesterday in the meeting last night about being late because some other guys were moving out. Well, that stuff could sit there. Your responsibility is you to be down there. That's what I get out of this.
Yeah.
My responsibility is to deal with the problems I have before I can try to deal with any of y'all's problems, right? Fortunately, since I've been here, I've had probably one of the greatest mentors, and not always have I paid close attention to Lieutenant Beals, but I have watched him. So that helps me in a managing type situation and supervising. But
Thank you.
we've come a long ways, I feel. Go ahead.
I like that also, because for me, I'm to the point also where I'm tired of feeding that monkey. I'm ready to feed myself. So it's time to kick that monkey back to the jungle.
All right, good deal. Thank you very much.
All right.
Sharing.
Okay,
I
this
got
coincides
I got over
with
the
what he
nervousness.
was
Just
just
wait till
talking
next week.
about, and what Francois was talking about.
Who are you?
I'm Clark Collette, Lieutenant Clark Collette. This is mastering your time and mastering your life. He was just talking about, often we spend our time worrying about things that we shouldn't worry about, that we have nothing to do with. We should spend most of our time on what pertains to us. And this is mastering your time and mastering your life. And I've read the first chapter in this book, and I read a little bit more. But I took notes on what I did, my first chapter, and this is my theory and knowledge of it. There is an explosive growth of technology and competition. The advancement of technology accelerates so fast, we the people can't keep up with it. So we need to find a way to master our time so we can get the best results for each goal we set. That has to do with family, work, relationship, outings, and the skills we want to learn. I feel we need to set the right times for each goal we set out so we don't get frustrated or fail at what we are shooting for. Time management plays a key role in accomplishing our goals. The most important skill we have is the ability to think. Okay? Rich or successful people often accomplish more than we do, which is a fact. because they use their time in more effective ways. They are more efficient with their time. If you love yourself, like yourself, and respect yourself, you will master the areas in your life and whatever you set out in time to do. And do it with a high level of self-esteem. Time is what you make of it. Make the right time for certain things you want to accomplish. The management plays a key role in accomplishing your goals. And that's what I got right now.
All right. And what's the name of your book?
The name of my book is Master Your Time and Master Your Life.
Who's the author?
The author is Brian Tracy.
All right. You have a hand up over
I was asking you the name of the book, Master Your Time and Master Your Life.
Life.
Okay.
Any question, comments?
I'd just like to comment. I like what you had to say about time management in a way that plays a key role in attaining your goals. Because without being able to manage time and what it takes to get whatever task it is or goal that you have set, you know, and be able to do it in an effective time and age. If you do it too quickly, you might not quite get the job done, or you might leave some stuff out or whatever. But if you take too long, then you might get bored or something like that, possibly too, and then or just never get done. Right?
Exactly. You
Yeah.
know, certain things take a certain amount of time. So you also need to plan for that. Plan for the amount of time it's going to take you to accomplish that goal. Whether it's learning a new skill, anything, trying to regain a relationship, anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like that. And like you were saying, a lot of the times that you're trying to, and Mr. Fields even spoke on it, trying to, let's say, do something that's not your responsibility. So there's time wasted in trying to do that when you should take that time and put forth in what is your responsibility. And that's what this book's about.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing.
Imagine I'm gonna be reading your book next, and you're gonna be reading this. Has money on it.
Huh?
I'd like to read that monkey, 1 Minute Manager.
Well, I like that part where you were talking about learning to like yourself.
Yeah.
What did you say about that?
Okay, let me see. I wrote a bunch of stuff out. I went through a bunch of these pieces of paper and they went anyway. If you love yourself, like yourself, and respect yourself, you will master the areas in your life and whatever you set time to do, and do it with a high level of self-esteem.
Great deal, great deal.
In order to accomplish and set time out and do things that you want to do in a reasonable amount of time and master it all and master your life, you've got to love yourself, like yourself, and respect yourself.
I agree with that 100%. We're gonna take about a 2-minute break. What time do you all have?
7:35.
7:35. So I love the chapter reports, not the full book reports, but the chapter reports show that you all are interested in what you're doing, not for me, but for yourself. And that's what's important. Before we went on break, I was saying different things that I liked about what I heard from the different books. I really like that time, that management thing about the monkeys. What's the title of that book?
The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey.
And who's off?
Kenneth Blanchard.
All right. Yeah, that's a great book, and of course, Heaven in Your Heart and in Your Pocket Too is by my pastor, Dr. Ed Montgomery. Very familiar with that book. That book really talks about heaven in your heart. I heard you say, you know, you want to have God in your heart. You know, unfortunately, over the years, we've been taught, you know, God is up here in heaven. And as long as people are teaching us to believe that God is up in the sky in heaven, then they can always put something, a ceiling or something between you and your God, because they got him up here and not in here. You know, the prayer that Jesus said we should pray. Do any of you know it? Our Father,
Lord's Prayer.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth.
right there, hold on. See, we run through that. You see how we just ran through that, right? Now let's say it real slow. Our Father, who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name.
thy kingdom come,
Thy
will be done. Where?
On earth.
Where?
On earth.
As it
As it
is
is
in heaven, right? Now,
Here and there.
that will be done on earth. What are we made from?
Earth. The earth.
To do God's will on earth.
What are we made from?
The earth.
The dust of the earth. But we trying to go to heaven to do God's will. You see?
Yes, I see what you're saying, yeah.
See, where we have been taught, God is up there, and we down here. So what I decide is to read to you Genesis, 1st chapter, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. God gave us, you and I, these earthly creatures that he created in his own image, gave us power over 3 different dominions. The air, the sea, and the earth.
That's 1/6, right?
26.
26. Okay.
So we don't have a reason to fail, because he's given us dominion over all 3. But now catch this part. In the 2nd chapter of Genesis, the 7th verse, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Now, God told the man to be fruitful and multiply, even before he gave him a body. Now, you're talking about heaven in your heart, right? So obviously, what my outside skin look like is irrelevant to who I am on the inside. Because see, there are 2 parts. Whether people want to believe that or not, if you want to win, you really have to develop your inside. You develop your inside, it will keep you free of drugs and alcohol. That will not be a struggle. I'm telling you, God told them to be fruitful and multiply before he gave them a body. That's powerful. Which means you can be fruitful and multiply all by yourself. We think we need to link up with a woman. But if you see, right here, a woman is not even in the picture yet. That relationship come way down the road. Way down the road. He wants us to develop us as individuals with him. If you can do that, you're going to learn about that Holy Spirit that lies on the inside of you. You're going to learn about who you are and where you originally came from. Not just from your mom and your dad. You originally came from God, because God created us just like himself. Just like he said that his word that he speaks shall not return void, but it should accomplish everything that he sent it out to do. Well, guess what? If he made us just like him, everything we say shall not return void, but it should accomplish everything that we sent it out to do. Why not? Either we know he made us like him, or we don't. And the question becomes, do we accept who we are? That's the question. Well, we just listen when we start quoting the first part of the prayer. We're trying to get to heaven. He said, kingdom come, right here on earth. But from a lot of the teaching over the years, I can't wait to get to heaven to walk down the golden road and put on the golden slippers and all of that. What about here on earth? Don't you want to live a fulfilled life here on earth? So it's not about once I get to heaven. If I'm doing the right thing, then heaven can be right here on earth for me. If I'm developing the inside of me. Because I will learn about the power that I possess. And you possess the power. You just got to learn how to use the power. Yes, sir.
I believe it starts here.
Absolutely.
It starts here.
Absolutely it does. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. And see, a lot of us believe the word. We believe that there's a God. But we got to move from believing to knowing. See, when you get to knowing who you are, there's a paradigm shift. There's a paradigm shift. You begin to walk different. You begin to talk different. People will begin to call you arrogant because you know who you are, and they haven't taken the time to develop who they are. So they get upset with you. So don't take it personal because they call you arrogant. You just keep developing who you are. Keep developing who you are. And I'm going to give you one other example. And I might have mentioned it to you guys. The 2 Corinthians. I think it's around the 2nd chapter, where it talks about being an ambassador for Christ. Are you all familiar with that scripture?
Yeah.
You are?
I'm familiar with, but I don't know exactly where it is, but I know I've heard the ambassador, representative guy. We represent.
Okay. So do all of us know what an ambassador is? Who know what an ambassador is?
An ambassador is a representative of, like say here in layman's terms here, we have ambassadors from the United States to other countries that allow citizens of our country that are in those countries to be able to go to, but also it helps develop relations with those other countries as well in developing a good relationship between those two countries.
Okay. Good example. Has anybody been in the military? You? Oh, that's why you had such a great explanation. Okay. So just like United States will have an ambassador in Great Britain, for an example. And where does the ambassador stay over in other countries?
At the embassy.
At the embassy. Now, just say for whatever reason, the military over in Great Britain decide to start shooting against the embassy. What happens?
Well, that's actually active war against the United States because that embassy is actually United States land. That means that they're engaging in military conflict against the United States.
Okay. Very good. Lieutenant Scott. Well, I guess that's why you're a lieutenant. but he absolutely right. And what happened is that ambassador has to communicate with the president's office, whether he talked directly to the president or not, but he has to communicate with that office on a daily basis. Am I right?
Through the Secretary of State, and the president is the one that actually appoints the ambassador.
Right.
Mhm.
So, in saying that, that ambassador has to speak to the president or a representative on a daily basis to get their instruction so they can talk about what's going on. Now, that embassy that the ambassador lives in that foreign country, that piece of property is considered to be the United States. That's why if Great Britain retaliate against that building, they just declared war against the United States. So now you've got the United States military backing that embassy. But before that military come over there and do whatever they're gonna do, they have foot soldiers that's called the Marines, already assigned there. So if we are ambassadors for Christ, what kind of position that put us in?
Servants of the Lord. Servants of the Lord.
Or representatives.
Representatives of the
of
Lord.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which means Christ said he's our elder brother, right? That's what the word says. So if we are an ambassador for Christ, that means we have foot soldiers to fight on our behalf. Do you know what they're called?
Angel.
Angels. Absolutely. That's why I'm saying, once you realize who you are, you can't be beat. Being that you are an ambassador here on this earth, in this earth suit. See, we from a foreign land. God gave us this earth suit, and his spirit lies inside of us. And that's what gives this earth suit the formality to be able to walk around and all that. Remember in chapter 2 of Genesis where he talks about he breathed into our nostrils and then we became a living soul. See, before he did that, the earth was just down. It was just there. Once he did that, we became a living soul. That means we had the Spirit of God inside of us. Now, as an ambassador, it is our responsibility to communicate with our president every day.
Amen.
And who is our president? God himself. Absolutely. You see, that's very simple. But we don't do it. It's not shared that way. But it will definitely help you to understand who you are and your position. And once you know who you are and know your position and start functioning and making decisions from that position, man, you write your own ticket. Because now you know what kind of power you possess. And you know when to release it, and you know when to hold it. Because you are in control of that power. Knowing that you got angels as your foot soldiers. Knowing that is a paradigm shift. So you have to start communicating with God every day. Okay, what's new? What's my sign? What you want me to do? What you want me to say? Who you want me to talk to? You just want me to be still? Okay. And then you sit and just listen, don't say nothing. Because you don't always have to be doing the talking. Sometimes it's just being still and listening. Now, I can't say I've heard the Lord, thus said the Lord do this. I can't sit here and tell you I've heard that ever in my life. But one thing I can share with you, in the quiet time of being still, I get new ideas. I get new ideas. I get new ideas. When I'm going through a rough moment, go in the office, close the door, and I go to sleep. Because when I'm up and awake, I'm trying to figure it out. But I need to get out of the way. So my natural mind can shut down and the Spirit of God inside of me and the Holy Spirit come together and give me an idea. Sometimes we're in our own way. And because we come up with a great idea, yeah, that's God. And it may not be a God idea. It's just our natural mind just gave us a good idea. So we think. Because if God give you a vision, he will also give you provision. He will show you how to make it happen. He will put the things in place to help you make it happen. But understanding who you are is the meat of this class. Because only until then, you'll continue to make the same decision and expect a different result. And that is a sign of what?
Insanity.
Insanity. So that means we're going to change the way we think. And the only way we're going to do that, we're going to keep hammering on who we are. We're going to do certain things in the class, but at the end of the class, I'm going to have my spiel about who we are. Because that is what's going to help take you to the next level. The other part of you reading these books and writing your report, the reason I want you to write it because it stick with you. Because there's life after this class. And those things I want you to know. All right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all get something out of class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Can I get a book?
See you all next Monday.
I want a book. I want a book.
Can he get a
I
book?
want a book.
Yes, sir. He can get